2015 was a pretty sweet year. We got healthcare, apparently, and Brickleberry ended, so you already know the grass became much greener. Oh yeah, and Yokai Watch 1 released in America that year, ain't that sweet? We also got the Japanese release of Yokai Watch Blasters, which released on that iconic July 11th, 2015. I don't know what's up with them releasing exactly a year after each other. I think that streak actually gets broken up a bit by 5 days for Yokai Watch 3, but it creates consistency, which is good. Yokai Watch 2's success made it clear to Level 5 that this franchise is working out pretty well. Why fix what isn't broken? And by that, we mean let's make a spin-off. You see, Yokai Watch 2 had this extra game mode called Blasters mode, where instead of battling yokai in the normal battle system we're used to, the gameplay is much more like a beat-em-up. This game mode also features you playing as a yokai, any yokai that you've befriended. How the Blasters mode worked in Yokai Watch 2 was you and up to 3 other people fight together to kill a boss. You were also incentivized to collect these little things called Oni Orbs that are out and about to get some extra goodies after the round. Oh yeah, Blasters mode takes place during Terror Time, so that explains, all the ghouls. It was a pretty fun game mode in my opinion, at least when I was actually able to play it with friends. It was playable by yourself, but to get the full experience, you needed other people. Unfortunately, a shortcoming of the Yokai Watch 2 version of Blasters is that there aren't any NPC helpers. So unless you got 3 other people physically around you, you aren't going to be able to get that full party. But let's be real, it's pretty clear that this version of Blasters was a tech demo. Like I said earlier, Yokai Watch Blasters released a year after Yokai Watch 2. Level 5 already put in the resources to build this damn demo, might as well go all the way. And alongside that 2-game version system, the thing that Pokemon does, that worked pretty damn well. They did make $1 grillion, so let's do it again. So Yokai Watch Blasters released into 2 games, Red Cat Squad and White Dog Squad. The version differences this time around are mainly yokai that you can befriend, and surprisingly special missions that you can do. And instead of releasing a 3rd version like last time, Level 5 decided to release an update to both games called the Moon Rabbit Crew update. Yeah, that's right, Usapion originated from Blasters. That's really weird. Usapion was definitely meant to be the 3rd mascot type for Yokai Watch. Hell, he plays a very prominent piece in the 3rd game, the 3rd season of the anime, and whatever the fuck is going on with the manga. It's kind of weird to drop him in this filler episode. Anyways, Moon Rabbit Crew is the post game of Blasters, so we've got some time before I'll talk about that in depth. I should mention though, before we get in deep, is that this game is one that I didn't play as a child. It released in America in September 2018. For reference, I was in the 8th grade and was, at the time, going through a bit of a phase where I stopped caring about RPGs, a phase that would continue until the start of 2020 when I decided to get Persona 5. I just barely got through a 1/3 of Pokemon Sun, I didn't get any of the Ultra games, and I was completely out of the loop with any of the yokai antics, which bit me in the ass. Damn it, you little bastard, why'd you have to go play Mega Man? Fuck, what else was I doing at that time? I guess Smash Bros when that released. I'm gonna be honest, most of the things pre-COVID are a bit of a blur. Anyways, I have no prior nostalgia or preconceptions on Blasters. Hell, I've only played about 2 hours of the game prior to this video a couple years back, and I watched this review right here a few times. So there's a chance that this game could suck and fuck, and I would be none the wiser. There's only one way to find out. I gotta say, I am glad that they changed the opening theme. I don't dislike the opening themes from the other 2 games, but variety is the spice of life, and making a trap remix of a song is enough spice to kill the meal. Have you heard of that Simpsons trap remix? It is dreadful. The main story this time around is Jibanyan, or Flingus the Fourth, as my good friend Colin named him. Medea was busy making 12 movies. And his Blasters group. A Blasters group is a thing where yokai will work together, in a group to essentially protect the masses from the evil and stupid yokai during Terror Time. There's just one problem. Flingus' team is full of friggin' idiots! Like, these guys couldn't even kill a dead fly. So then Sergeant Burley comes in to get these lards into shape. So Yokai Watch Blasters is kind of like an underdog story, where you start from the crack shack and make your way up to the sophisticated, celebrity-filled heroin hotel. And not that heroin hotel, that one stinks! Sergeant Burley achieves this by making us actually do our fucking job. But it's not just an underdog story, it's also a workplace sitcom. Now, the main cast is fine, they've got some fun banter, but all I'm saying is replace this guy with a robot, this Sandman with a one-eyed yokai, and this guy with a crab. After a good stern talking to, Burley actually gets us into a mission. There are 4 types of missions in Yokai Watch Blasters: Story, Patrol, Big Boss, and True Challenge Mode, which is a Moon Rabbit Crew type mission, so see you in like 10 minutes. Story is self-explanatory, it takes you through the story. Patrol is you getting placed into whatever map you feel, and you just go grind your life away. And Big Boss mode is, you guessed it, boss fights. The mechanics on how you play are the same across these 3 modes, so I'll talk about them here. In the environment, you move around just like you did in Yokai Watch 1. If it wasn't clear before, Yokai Watch Blasters uses the same engine in many of the same game spaces as Yokai Watch 1 and 2. Like I said in the Yokai Watch 2 video, it's not the end of the world, but I kind of have more of a problem with it here, mainly because of how little new walkable, non-boss environments there are in comparison to Yokai Watch 2. Yokai Watch 2 not only introduced Harrisonville, but it had the train stations, the entirety of the pass,
past, the super past, and, in Psychic Specters, a post-game adventure. Many of the areas in Blasters either are exactly as they are presented in the previous games, or, the camera is just positioned at a slightly lower angle. It's not game ruining, but it's hard not to notice, since you're interacting with the world in a way that wasn't intended when that town section was built years earlier. It can make some of the exploring awkward at times. I think Old Springdale is the biggest instance of this awkwardness, since it's just one huge ass map, and they have to spread the enemy spawns and objectives across that whole map. So there's some unneeded downtime of you walking for a minute or whatever, doing nothing else, just to kill or collect whatever you need to kill or collect, only to then need to walk another minute to complete another part of that objective. This isn't a workout, it's a video game. I don't need to burn calories right now. Trust me, I'm like a stick. One gust of wind and I'm now in Zimbabwe. It doesn't really help that the secret alleyways were also cut, so it feels like a diet circumcised version of wherever you are. The new environments they did add, however, are pretty nice. They're very visually good. I think the only places added, though, are purely for boss rooms. Well, that and the Blasters HQ. It's this big building where you'll spend most of your time not in a mission. It has 6 different floors, each for unique purposes. The roof for the Crankakine HQ customizations, the command room for selecting your missions, the lounge room for party member alignments, Dimmy's shop in the level gym for an item shop / fusion stand and a place to level up your yokai, the entrance for passwords, menu upgrades, and the such, and the basement is for the Wayfair Coliseum. This is the Street Pass battle system, which means it doesn't work anymore. Like I said earlier, workplace sitcom. It would be a bit weird if the workplace was sterile or uninspired. There are even some extra interactions in the base to be had. You can talk to this guy here who will deal with the yokai souls, that equipable thing that was introduced in Yokai Watch 2. You can change the background music with Komajiro Rapper Edition. You can turn on the shower to clean off the yokai grime. You can fuck up the fax machine, and you can talk to your coworkers, even if they don't give a shit. Yokai Watch has always been pretty good with useless yet fun interactables, so I'm glad to see that hasn't changed, even in the spin-offs. Okay, most of the new stuff is relegated to the base and battle arenas. It's not the end of the world if we whack a yokai off the McDonald's. That fucking sounds way worse. It's really not the end of the world if we whack some yokai off the earth nearby the McDonald's. Now, let's actually talk about interacting with that game space. While on a mission, whatever yokai you use has 3 different types of attacks or actions and a sprint button. You can actually choose what these moves can be: a basic attack, a charge support, and a dash move. Whatever move you use also has a cooldown timer, so you can't really use them all willy-nilly. There's this ultimate button, which works like the other games where it's a big attack buff or debuff, and you have the run button like usual. It's simple, easy to understand, and it works. No complaints here. The types of attack your yokai can use depends on the class that they have. In Blasters, there are 4 different classes: fighters, rangers, healers, and tankers. These fulfill different purposes, and the idea is to have one of each for a good team balance. But later on, man, just get like a team of 2 healers and either 2 fighters or tanks, or just one of each. I don't think rangers were too useful for me in my playthroughs or my friend's playthrough, which sucks because guns kill. So now that we can move and are capable of defending ourselves, let's go into a story mission. You can choose in the story mission mode whether to do a main or side story mission. Completing a main mission nets you the ability to continue onward with the story. However, there will be times where you have to complete a side mission. Most of these are optional. However, sometimes they are required to move along that story. In Yokai Watch 2, I had complaints with this. However, since the story is kinda whatever in Blasters, I didn't really pay attention. It feels the most like an episodic show out of the entire franchise, at least up until this point. So I don't mind if the story pisses off in the middle. Plus, any side mission that is mandatory doesn't extend the chapter. You're gonna get the same amount of required levels per chapter, and each level gives about the same level of engagement. And often you will have the choice to choose between one of 3 side missions, or the side mission is actually implemented into the main story, so you can just select a path like it's Minecraft stupid mode. Speaking of selecting a mission, whenever you start one, this cutscene will occur. I like it quite a bit, doing some firefighter shit. And oh shit, I should mention that Blasters is called Busters in Japan, a clear reference to Ghostbusters. There are a couple of other Ghostbusters references in the Japanese versions as well. The final boss is a whisper version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow. There are alternative Ghostbuster-esque costumes for Jibanyan, Komasan, and Usapion, and they got a little ectomobile. In the American versions, for copyright concerns, all of these were changed, which is unfortunate. Hey guys, editing me here. This is literally the biggest news drop in the world. So it turns out the changes from Busters to Blasters is actually because of not copyright concerns, but it's because of how the localizers thought that Ghostbusters is not interesting for their intended age group of kids. Well, I mean, because, Ghostbusters was popular in the 80s. And it was like 3 decades later. While I do get what they mean, man, there have been so many shows that have referenced something from decades prior. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Actually, one comes to mind. I used to watch a lot of Clarence, and the episode where they were at Benson's birthday party and they were like trying to, like, whoever doesn't get scared or whatever gets my video game console. At the end, that was like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference. Not only is that from years ago, but that's an R-rated movie, man. It's a bit crazy that they did that. They also referenced American Psycho. I don't think it's that big of a deal to keep a Ghostbusters reference. Plus, I'm sure, like, my dad totally would have showed me Ghostbusters if I was willing to watch it when I was like 10. I was just scared of zombies. The story missions all have a clear objective that you have to, well, clear. Sometimes you'll have dialogue to go along with the story, and some of it is fine, but sometimes, mainly early on, they'll just stop you from doing anything. Again, this only happens during those first handful of chapters, but good lord can it give whiplash. Like, I'm just trying to finish the damn mission. The story going on isn't even that intense. It's just like, oh, you picked up the 3 grass bags. You might have noticed the little clock in the top right corner of the screen. That's for the timer. Each mission has a timer. It's pretty forgiving though. I don't think I ever really got close to running out the clock in a story mission, so I wouldn't worry about it. Hell, if you think you won't be able to finish a mission in time, about a couple minutes in, a gold door will appear that will just allow you to leave. To actually complete the mission, you do need to finish that objective, but if you're in a sticky situation or need to leave for whatever reason, boom, get out. The main objectives are you either killing or finding stuff, sometimes doing both, and that is about it. This could be an issue, but I kind of ball with the battling. You just go up and bop. Once you're actually finished with that mission, you may realize that you don't gain any levels. So leveling up in Blasters is way different than how it was executed in those other games. While going through a mission, you'll find yourself collecting these little red orbs. They are called Oni orbs. And that's very fitting. You'll be getting them from either defeating a yokai, picking them up from the ground, or as a mission complete reward. You need them Oni orbs, okay? They are used for everything. Like buying shit, leveling up. They are used for everything. When it comes to leveling up, you go to like Mr. Shoe. Is it like morally wrong for a shoe creature to be like wearing shoes? Like if you skinned somebody you knew and then wore that skin? Wait, that's bad regardless of who it is. What the fuck am I talking to Mr. Shu and giving him 1 Oni Orb gives whatever yokai you choose 1 experience point. Yeah, nice conversion rate. I see the tariffs haven't hit you yet. What's extra nice is that if you don't back out of your leveling up thing and decide, maybe not, you can just do that and all the XP would be returned into Oni Orbs. The system makes leveling up newly obtained yokai so much easier, dude. Like, this is very nice. I like this a lot. But also, there will be times where I just forgot to level up and I will be criminally underleveled for some like fuck-ass mission. But I mean, that was like my fault. Ooh, you know what I just realized? How does befriending work? You still got the Crank-a-Kai, it works the same, and this Demon Kai, where you use Oni Orbs to increase your chances of better drops. Holy fucking shit, dude. I just did this for the video, bro. Holy shit. I'm eating a Butterfinger right now. I'm gonna name you fucking Shenmue. Fate worse than death. Now I'm poor. That's like expensive. I'm just a fucking cat. I'm not Elon Musk. But since we aren't battling in a separate realm of infinite cars and pins, there aren't any like transition screens for us to possibly gain new friends. Unless you count the blinding screens of God after you complete a mission, but that'd be too disconnected from your exploring. That could be minutes after you defeated like 30 of the yokai you want. And if you need to grind for yokai, that'd just take up so much useless time. Like, well, I killed 50 of them. Let's see if I won. Haha, whoops, I didn't. It's like if you're gambling, but then you get edged on whether you won or not. Waiting a week only to get $2. It's prolonged. So for blasters, all you gotta do is defeat the yokai, and if you're lucky enough, a pink circle will surround their corpse. You go up and interact with the pink circle and you get to do this little rhythm game. I definitely prefer this to how the other games dealt with befriending. It's a hell of a lot more immediate, and in the case where you already have befriended something or just don't want it, you can just walk away. Because quite honestly, having 5 Hungrampses is a bit much. Like, what are you even gonna do with those 5? Oh, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna go starve a village, I bet. You know, you're an asshole. There's this very weird thing about befriending in Blasters, however. So, you know when you befriend something in Yokai Watch, you can give it a nickname? No matter how you've befriended it, there will always be a prompt for it. Hell, this is even the case for games like Pokemon and Final Fantasy VI. So tell me why this isn't a thing in Blasters, except when you get a yokai from the Crank-a-Kai. You do eventually get the ability to nickname any yokai you get, but it's weird to limit that. You know, imagine playing Mario, and after you shoot like 3 fireballs, he says, I'm not feeling it. What do you mean you're not feeling it? You're Mario, do your job. But what does being Mario truly mean? Oh, okay, great. My NES game is having a fucking midlife crisis. You know, into the mud you go. Your fireball's already costing me 30 bucks. Now I have to like pretzel my penis just to fire more. To actually get the ability to rename your yokai, you need to complete a yokai circle. While legendaries still exist in blasters and how you obtain them is the same, yokai circles function as like baby legendaries. I don't know, where you need to befriend specific yokai in order to gain like a new stronger yokai. Except it's like not a legendary. A good example of this is possibly the easiest one to get in blasters, where befriending Wiglin, Steppa, and Rith completes this little circle right here, and you get a Hawaiian tourist out of that. You don't just get yokai from these circles though. You can actually get some equipables or items helpful for fusing, and even a nice little photo to go alongside your rewards. It's like a double reward. It's nice to get some guaranteed shit instead of grinding throughout patrol or boss mode just to hope you get what you want. Speaking of patrol, we might as well talk about patrol mode now. Patrol mode, like I said earlier, is pretty much only used for grinding. You choose whatever map you've been to before and fuck about doing low intensity quests. These quests include fighting a bunch of grunts, fighting a big grunt, or collecting a handful of whatever. It's an alright way to grind for Oni orbs, but you're mainly going to be using patrol for befriending yokai. And in that case, it does the job well. The only problem is, and this is the case for any grindy specific part of any game, is that it's very mindless. You could argue that patrol could be used to explore the maps without any worry of missing main mission antics, but since everything is pretty much shown as such, with the cut alleyways and the fact that you could have already explored these areas in previous games, no thanks, I'll pass on patrol mode unless I need to befriend somebody. But bingo, this happened while I was freaking playing the darn game. Specifically in patrol mode, you have like 20 minutes to do whatever you want. A couple minutes in, that iconic JOLDDORE appears and I was like able to exit. And I was like, whatever, man, I don't even need to leave yet. I gotta grind for this like piece of shit. I befriended a couple other goons because they were out and about and I got some Oni orbs, but I didn't befriend what I needed, so I kept at it. Then I got the freaking 3 minutes left alarm like it's my college final, and I was like, well, I guess I have 3 minutes left to grind for this seaweed. Yeah, no. I ran out of time and then I got booted out, which caused me to lose everything that I gained during that session of patrol. Every bee friend, every Oni orb. I mean, that's it. But like 20 minutes was gone in 5 seconds. I'd understand more if this happened in the normal missions or boss missions, because that probably means you aren't ready to take on that mission. But patrol is the brain dead nothing matters mode. If you couldn't tell already, I'm not the biggest fan of how patrol was executed. And this like time limit, 20 minutes are down the drain, makes me very much dislike this mode more than the rest, and more than I thought, and more than I probably should. But that's not really patrol's fault, at least not as an idea. As much as grinding sucks, it's good that there's at least an isolated mode specifically for grinding. But it's really how the general game is built's fault, I guess. The blaster specific version of the Yokai Watch engine has that time limit. It has no new explorable maps, spread out encounters, and this weird way wild yokai will spawn. Okay, I should probably actually explain this. So basically when you defeat a yokai, another one will spawn in a spawn point nearby. It can be a random spawn point. This becomes a problem when a yokai you need to befriend only spawns in some of those spawn points. So you'll end up wasting time defeating random ass yokai just to hope for a yokai to spawn in that special spawn. Okay, I need to find a new word, I'm sorry. Generation zone. They generate in the generation zone. Not only do you gotta hope that it's the zone that you want them to appear in, but it's gotta be the yokai that you want. And if it isn't, time to waste another minute or so defeating this stupid kid with electricity. Whoops, I'm slow now. Fuck. Time ran out. Die. At least in Yokai Watch 1 or 2, I could like refresh the whole area for new spawns, and I can check whatever the rank is without getting my monocle out. These, minus the time limit, that makes more sense in the like actual story mission. These flaws are really just exacerbated in patrol mode because you need to grind. The map already felt weird since downtown Springdale was meant for walking to and from building to building at most, and even then at some point you'd get like a freaking bicycle, which makes traversal so much better. But at least in the story missions you weren't going back and forth between the same areas. But the thing is that you only really need to walk back and forth because of how Blasters deals with spawns. If there was a special condensed map for patrol where yokai spawns are nearby, or a specific yokai will spawn near each other, or their spawns weren't dictated by if something was defeated, that alongside removing the time limit, or at the very least running out of time doesn't throw away any progress, then I wouldn't have a problem with this. Holy shit, okay, I'm done ranting about this throwaway game mode. On the other side of the mission select, we have Big Boss mode, where you'll fight the bosses you've already encountered in the story mode, except they are much stronger. This, I feel, is a much better way for grinding Oni orbs, and it's definitely more stimulating. How so? Well, not only are the bosses more intense with their attacks and do more damage, but also, before you do the actual boss fight itself, you first have to confront them in the general exploring space, and beat them up there. Then, after you do enough damage to the boss, they'll make a mad dash away from you. And if you attack them during this state, they'll drop some Oni orbs. And sometimes they'll drop much bigger Oni orbs that'll give, you guessed it, more Oni orbs. Some time will pass after they finish their 5k, and then they go into the boss arena area, and then you go fight them in the boss room. This little song and dance does occur in the main missions when the objective is fighting the boss, but I felt that it made more sense to talk about the bosses here. The boss fights themselves are pretty good across the board. They each have a gimmick that makes the battling not so tiring, and it makes the fights pretty unique. I think actually a pretty good example of this is Sproink. Sproink will throw soap at you, and if you get hit, you'll be slippery. Luckily, in the battle arena, there will be hot springs around so you can wash off the soap. But if Sproink is in those springs, he'll heat them up, which will cause you to take damage if you enter in those springs, and you gotta like twist this little valve or whatever so it'll no longer be hot. There's also the boss fight with the super criminal version of Mangy Mutt, where he'll run around with his teddy bear, and if you attack and defeat the teddy bear, it'll cause Mangy Mutt to collapse for a bit. It has a lot of nuance and variation and nicety. I think the only boss that I found a bit annoying at times was Wobblewalk. He likes to use this eat shit do no damage shield, which just extends the battle. Some of these fights are a huge pain though. In the future, it makes sense in the story, Robonyan becomes like Super Robonyan and is going rogue, and you gotta stop him and be perfect about it. I had like a full party of my pals, aka real human beings, which means they're 100 times better than that fuck ass AI. I had them play with me during this fight, and holy shit, dude, we couldn't even beat him once. We fought him like a friggin' grillion times. One mistake costed us the whole fight. We were all also around the recommended level too. Like, god damn, dude, he kicked our ass. But I mean, other than that, the boss fights are pretty sweet.
Inozo's boss fight was great. The guy's like a hacker. You know, what's his name? Like that, notorious hacker, iFunny, yeah. What's interesting about the bosses is that there are some that are version exclusive. Rubius J and Dame Dead Time are the exclusive normal bosses for Red Cat, with Hardy Hound and McCracken being the exclusive normal bosses for White Dog. Luckily, you can still experience these fights if you connect with someone that has the other version. Unfortunately, there are some bosses way later down the line that are like super version exclusives, meaning that even if you connect with somebody else that has the other game, you cannot fight that boss together. It's about time I actually talk about the multiplayer aspect of Blasters. You don't technically need 3 other people to get through the main game. Anyone who isn't a player will be an NPC of whatever other yokai are in your main loadout. But holy shit, is playing with others really fun. Obviously, this isn't a hot take. Guys, hot take, Futurama is better than The Simpsons. Okay, well, everybody says that in the comment sections. It's actually a pretty cold take. Don't get me wrong, I love Futurama. It's probably like my 3rd favorite show. It's my calendar this year. But I love my Jaundice family just a little more. A while back, I actually got some peoples for a good old-fashioned Yokai Watch Blasters rendezvous, since I was unable to experience it during my childhood, nor had the chance to play it in Yokai Watch 2. Luckily, online multiplayer for Blasters actually works on Citra. There's a couple quirks that come with the multiplayer mode, like you're unable to interact with certain things or do specific missions, and you can't go on a mission that somebody else hasn't unlocked yet, which is unfortunate, but I get why that's the case, so I don't really mind. You get to make funny callouts, and that's a good trade-off to me. Wait, okay, so you're having Sugoi sex is what you say. That's what happens when you come too quick.
Right after the sex, you say thanks.
I'm gonna quit now. Wait, holy shit. Wait. Use an aura. There's this really fun thing that happens when you play multiplayer though. So at the end of every mission, you'll get some special items. However, in multiplayer, those special items get shared between all your party members. Now, instead of just saying whoever selects the good item first gets it, what happens is a coma battle. It's Beyblades up in this shit. This is sweet. It's also completely random, but I don't really mind since I was probably going to redo the mission anyways. There are some other incentives to do multiplayer, not only to experience the other version bosses and, well, play the damn game with your friends. Basically, if you do a mission with people that share the same game version as you, you'll gain some insignias, you know? There's some red insignias, some white insignias, doesn't really matter. These can actually be used as currency to get some special items and aura. Aura is a temp boost for whatever, like gaining more Oni orbs, better chances at befriending, etc, etc. There are actually some boss auras too. A boss aura means that you'll do more damage to a specific boss. You get these from, oddly enough, defeating other bosses. I mean, hey, it's a good way to grind for boss-specific item drops, so you can get some really freaking good equipables. You can also use the insignias in the secret room to fight this fucking thing. It's pretty cool. But man, you gotta use like a lot of those insignias, like over 32 or some shit. Alright, let's talk about Moon Rabbit Crew. Moon Rabbit Crew was an update that essentially works as a 3rd version, but also not. Think of it as a Red Cat / White Dog Squad Plus. There are more missions to do, bosses to fight, items to obtain, stories to haphazardly read, and yokai to befriend. Hell, there's even a new mission type, True Challenge Mode, which has 2 types of missions inside the True Challenge whatever. Time Attack and Oni Orb Hunt. Time Attack is basically an overworld boss rush, and the Oni Orb Hunts mode's objective is to collect as many Oni... Oh my god damn it, this is just Patrol but better. If you connect with the other version of Blasters and have the MRC update, you'll also gain access to this thing called the VIP room. And it's kind of just another room for grinding with another SUGOI grinding type mode. Don't get me wrong, this place looks cool and you can get really good stuff here with a special Crankakai and everything, but style over substance. Moon Rabbit Crew is pretty cool though. It's a bit odd that they didn't just make this the base of Blasters though in America. Like, did we really need 2 versions of this game? Especially with the American sales of not only Blasters, but the rest of the franchise being subpar? I don't think so. Alright, I think that's all I wanted to talk about with Blasters, so let's conclude. Yokai Watch Blasters was quite the surprise to me. I didn't really know what I was getting into, yet I enjoyed myself, especially for what it was. Do I like it more than the other mainline games? No, but that doesn't mean it isn't good or worth playing. The main formula for Blasters works well enough, and it sold pretty damn well in Japan. It's easy to see why they made a sequel 2 years later.
Hashtag localize YB2, right? Anyway, not only are we going to be playing the game, but we are going to be partnering up with Samurai Buyer.
Holy shit. Imagine watching a Yokai Watch video with a fucking Samurai Buyer sponsorship. What the fuck was 2017? Did anyone get that game from that sponsorship? That'd be pretty cool to know, I guess. I think the worst part about this whole thing is that out of all the games, it's the buggiest one. Anyways, the story in Blasters isn't much, but it was an alright read. Watch, I guess. Blasters is also a much shorter game than the rest of the series. It took me about 15 hours to beat instead of the usual 24. But since there's a pretty big emphasis on post-game, I can imagine grillions of hours being very easily poured into this damn game. I just kind of wish that there were newer areas to explore. I think that's like my main problem, actually. Well, other than that and some grinding problems and weird gameplay quirks, the game is solid as fuck. I'd recommend giving it a shot, especially if you got a couple other people on board. A couple extra things before I talk about the franchise as a whole. Number 1, thank you to Ben Boy Soul for my SUGOI Discord server. They gave me a shit ton of QR codes to use. Holy fuck. Definitely made the playthrough way better. I will say though that there were some QR codes that just gave me insane yokai. I didn't use those. I really only used the ones with coins. I think those QR codes were used for like dev testing purposes. I don't know. Number 2, thank you to the people who played the damn game with me. I even got somebody who's also made Yokai Watch videos on YouTube, S-Plush, to play with us. Thank you for dealing with us. Caden, why are you aura farming? Get back here.
What?
You just start, you slow walked away. I may at some point post an edited video of our play session. I don't know, the night is young. If I do, it'll be on the Owen Is Does channel. So, Yokai Watch is a franchise, am I right? It's in a really weird state right now. It's clear that the many games that are stuck in Japan aren't coming to the US. It doesn't help that the Switch has been replaced with the Swig 2, you know, so bye-bye Yokai Watch 4. So all bets are on that spiritual successor. Holy Horror Mansion is the name. Hey guys, I've literally got another update for you all. So Holy Horror Mansion seems to be getting a global release. Ever since Level 5 came back up from the grave, there have been hints on how they want to focus on global releases once more, so chances are we're actually getting Holy Horror Mansion over here. We were supposed to get a cross-media event, whatever that means, sometime in spring this year, but earlier today, it's July 1st when I'm recording this, they announced that it's being pushed back till fall this year, so I don't know. I remember there were also concerns over Horror Mansion using AI. Luckily, however, it seems that the stuff being generated by AI were used purely as placeholders and won't be in the final product, which is nice to hear. I've got no other official updates with the franchise. From what it seems, Horror Mansion is somewhat a part of the Yokai Watch franchise, like a spin-off series. I guess a good comparison is like how Persona is a part of the SMT franchise. Yeah, that's all I got. Still gotta play that iconic waiting game. I've been waiting for years at this point, so what's a couple more? For anyone wondering, I do actually plan on reviewing the game when it does release, so that'll be fun. But the game actually has to release first, and who knows how long that'll take. I've got one last thing to talk about. It's like a bit of an update, but it's not official, if that makes any sense. Basically, there's been somebody developing a Pokemon Showdown-esque battle simulator for Yokai Watch. This Yokai Watch battle simulator is called Somen Spirits, and they're gonna do a test run of it on August 1st. I'll put some stuff about that in the description below if you want to check it out. I definitely plan on playing it, that's for sure. I don't know anything about the Yokai Watch competitive scene at all, so I'm completely prepared to get my penis kicked in. Thank you all for watching, and to the people who are here exclusively for my Yokai Watch reviews, I'll see you next year for Yokai Watch 3. That's a huge game. It's based in America, which is where I live. That'll be fun. Anyways, live action bit time. You guys like Family Guy music? I sure do. That and Oingo Boingo is pretty much the only thing I've been listening to for the past year.
So I set up the trap for Dante. And for a bit of extra assurance, I brought something a little special.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
What's wrong with the gun?
I mean, he's still like a person. Like, you'll still be charged with murder for trying to.
Do you know who you're talking to? You know who you're speaking to right now? Your Excellency, Bugle the Fifth. All right. Pipe down and let a real man like myself do all the work.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
Listen, the Agus Goon Sesh was 8 hours. Yes, it may have been intentional, but I got it done.
What?
Ah! Wait.
God, why did you shoot me? I'm not Fubon. I didn't get speared by nothing. I'm just a boy.
Shit,
what the
fine.
fuck? You shot me in the lung.
Hey gang, I just got back from Vancouver, British Columbia, and you'll be hyped to find that I wrapped up that food bonyan all nice and tight. Just kidding. Roshinante, get up on! We must fuck all of the robots! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
What the fuck?
What the hell are you doing here?
What are you doing here, stupid motherfucker?